Speaker.
Kevin Haig.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to begin this 5-minute call with a reference to my colleague, Gareth Hughes. Gareth is unfortunately away from Parliament today, otherwise I'm sure he would have been making this contribution. Gareth had a member's bill in the ballot for the last 4 years on providing for a Kermadec protection, and I know that he would have wanted to stand here today to praise the government for taking the step of establishing the Kermadec Ocean Sanctuary. Mr. Speaker, the thing about conservation in New Zealand is that so often the species that we need to protect exist only here. If we are not successful in protecting those species, conserving them, preserving the ecosystems upon which they rely, then they will vanish from the earth forever. And that, Mr. Speaker, is why, despite being a small country, a small population, we have a particular responsibility not only to the natural world, but to the world, to the global population, for conservation of those unique species and ecosystems. And Mr. Speaker, despite being a small country, we have a very, very large exclusive economic zone. So the 5th largest, I believe, in the world. And Mr. Speaker, the creation of this Kermadec Ocean Sanctuary is an appropriate recognition of New Zealanders' desire to protect those species and those ecosystems and to live up to that global responsibility. Mr. Speaker, I want to express not only praise for the government's initiative in taking this step, but also the hope that they will consider extending this into further marine protected areas within the EEZ. Mr. Speaker, having praised the bill, there is one area that I want to express some concern about, and that was the decision not to consult with Ngāti Kuri and Te Aupōuri prior to the bill's creation. Because, Mr. Speaker, consultation prior to the bill would have been most appropriate. I understand that that was not possible because of the secrecy of the project, but I believe that the treaty, in fact, demanded no less than proper consultation at an earlier stage. But I know, Mr. Speaker, that both are now fully supportive of the bill and of the sanctuary, and I'm pleased to see that they will be appropriately represented on the board. I want to finally draw attention to one of the activities that will be prohibited within the sanctuary, and that is seismic surveying for non-scientific purposes. And Mr. Speaker, I fully support the prohibition of seismic surveying in this ocean sanctuary. It will add to our ability to love and protect those unique species, including whales and dolphins, that inhabit the sanctuary or pass through it. But, Mr. Speaker, one can't help but think of the government's refusal to protect Maui's dolphin in their sanctuary from seismic surveying, and to wonder if it isn't perhaps that the economic value of fishing that will be foregone in the Kermadec sanctuary is less than the economic value that the government hopes to glean from oil and gas prospecting in the Maui's sanctuary. I wonder, sir, whether that is an appropriate basis for making such a decision. Thank you, sir.